Hi, hello. If you're new here, my name is Rain. If you're not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you stopping on by to my little corner of the internet. And in today's video, we will be doing a sketchbook session. So I will be coloring the skin for my OC Loki, this illustration I started of him right here. And my OC Loki is definitely not in his best way in this illustration, so the colors are going to get a little bit funky. You're going to have to trust the process because he's going to be looking a little off for a hot minute there, and I lost faith in myself somewhere along the way, but I promise I do recover. But I'm just telling you, when the green comes in, I had a reason, I swear. But in my sketchbook sessions, I do like to ask that if you guys draw along with me, let me know down in the comments what you get up to. I always love to know what people in my community are illustrating alongside me, what you guys like to get up to whilst watching my videos. If you do anything creative, let me know. I'm always stoked to know that I'm inspiring people the way the YouTubers I watch inspired me, things of that sort. And so actually getting into a brief moment of housekeeping. If you are here from my last video that got way more popular than I anticipated, my mic should be fixed this week, and I am severely sorry that I was kind of coming in and out of reality. The hardware issue of my computer is fixed, so audio should be good from now on, hopefully. If it's not, yell at me. Just yell at me. But that's all aside, the only housekeeping I really needed to get into for this week. So I really did, right off the bat, make a mistake with this illustration in terms of coloring. I have two Ohuhu marker sets. I have three. I have the normal color set, but I have two sets with actual, like, reasonable skin tones in it. And that would be the pastel set has some skin tones in it, and the skin tone set has some skin tones in it. And I was moving my markers out of where I usually keep them to bring them out near my desk so I don't have to commute halfway across my house every time I want to do a marker illustration. And so I accidentally did end up using some of the pastels, thinking they were normal skin tone sets. And a lot of the recovery process of this is me trying to fix the fact that I accidentally went pastel when I wanted to go a little bit more earthy. So, that was my bad. And I don't know how I'm incapable of reading, but that's fine. So we're going to have some vibrant colors here and there, but that's okay because I was kind of feeling out the lighting in this piece as I was going, kind of figuring out exactly how I wanted the atmosphere to feel. I knew I wanted something dramatic, and I know I wanted the implication of this being outside with some funky foliage, definitely some interesting shadows cast. So I was already anticipating harsh, dark shadows and maybe like a good cast light on the skin. The cast light has not come in this video. Unfortunately, I'm going to be adding it at the very, very end of this illustration because I am a messy colorer. Sorry, guys. But I was planning to do some kind of harsh lighting, and so there is a touch of recovery options right out the gate with just being able to add some lavenders, I don't think I added violets. I do know I used this marker right here. I did use mauve or mauve V030. Maybe still a pastel, by the way. I really need to get these pastels out of my hand reach area so that I'm relying on the more earthy colors that I tend to enjoy first and not going directly to vibrancy. But I'm sure if you've seen my art before, and especially watched my videos where I work on illustrating, you know that my channel is the epitome of FAFO. I literally never know what I'm doing, and as long as I'm smashing colors onto the page, it will work out. I'll make it work out. I don't know what I'm doing, but I promise I will get an end product that isn't awful. So, definitely don't recommend coloring skin with pastels when you're wanting like an earthy outside thing, but I don't think it ended up as bad as I was thinking it was going to when I realized midway through the process the error of my ways. I think that green color might actually be, let's see, what is this? Lime green, maybe? Now that I'm like looking at the caps. Yeah, I really didn't know what I was doing. But the kind of objective with adding this green in here is that when the sun is theoretically, right, shining through this foliage and casting down upon him, you know, the hand is covering the face, is getting hit by most of the light and casting that purple shadow. I want to have the implication of the green light that would be shining through those leaves, you know, and the reflection of the light as it's bouncing off of different surfaces, right? So adding some greens to the skin, I was hoping would give that kind of outdoorsy, natural feeling that I'm going for. I don't know what I'm doing, and my computer was gone during this process, right? Computer evaporated. So I was using less references than usual. I was running on my much older computer that literally overheats running Google Docs, so pulling up other programs wasn't going to happen. And I record with my phone, I've mentioned it a few times, which is my usual reference holder, so did not know what I was doing, but that's fine. And I think the green really ended up looking pretty good, right? I love me sickly people. Not like Cult of the Invalid sickly, because that's literally disgusting, but I kind of like my characters to look worse for wear, the way their kind of stories and their character backgrounds kind of implies for their existence, right? I definitely want Loki as my OC to look like the hardships that he's experienced in godhood and kind of just a little bit more sickly, I suppose, worn down, exhausted, and well, a shape-shifting god, and definitely capable of masking those aspects of his personality. He totally is like kind of self-centered enough as a character of mine that he kind of like derives at least some level of satisfaction with appearing as kind of like mysterious, kind of spooky, I don't know. Totally like gets off to an extent, and people like being concerned about him not looking so good, but also him being like this mysterious, attractive zombie boy. So, you know, one of those types of characters, you know. I don't have a lot of characters who are kind of full of themselves, if that makes sense, and have that kind of attitude to their personality. And it's something that I think is really fun to play with. I definitely think that you can have, you know, maybe now that I think about it, it's giving Asterion from Baldur's Gate, and maybe I should revise him as a character just to avoid that. Now that I'm having this personal revelation, I'll have to think about that now that I've had that. I'll consult my partner. I'll consult my partner on this one. He's a little bit deeper into Baldur's Gate than me. And maybe I should do a Asterion fan art and put them side by side just for the mock of it. I might do that. Or edit the colors in Procreate when I'm done with this illustration. Oh no, they even have the flouncy... you know, I think I just ruined my own day. That's fine. And I don't remember what I was saying. Oh no. But I think that I like to take these kind of toxic or unideal traits and add them to my OCs, and then center a lot of those illustrations I guess, kind of around their less ideal traits, or at least trying to convey some aspect of that attitude, if that makes much sense. I I like playing with traits that I don't necessarily like in real life or am particularly fond of when I encounter them in people, and then putting them into my OCs and kind of trying to play with the balance of how much of this trait can someone have with all of these other positive traits, because people are multifaceted, right? And how do I want to kind of approach kind of compensating for these otherwise less than ideal characteristics, or sometimes problematic or troublesome characteristics, right? And so for Loki, it feels very appropriate for a kind of level of entitlement and kind of self centeredness, being a god who has consistently been harassed by the other Aesir. Aesir? I don't even know. I have all of my notes on like from my mythos, and I never Googled how to pronounce any of those words that are in there. But being constantly relied upon to get them out of trouble, and yet also just never being thanked or appreciated for anything that he's done, I think it lends himself quite strongly to a kind of woe is me, no one cares, no one appreciates what I do type of attitude, because he has never been appreciated by the gods, right? And I know there's not a lot of context in Norse mythology to explain how him and Odin became blood brothers and really where their bond lied to have them create and forge that relationship. Like what it was, if one of them did a favor for another, and if there was that kind of strong connection earlier, or if there was, to an extent, this sort of selfish desire to have someone like Loki in his corner, or what, and kind of that brotherhood, but there is such a strong lack of appreciation. And I haven't been able to find a lot of explanation in mythology about Loki's birth mother and her kind of affiliation with him, if she was particularly active in his life, nor have I found a whole lot about his father. It's mostly just his wife, and then the Jotun that he had kids with unfaithfully from his wife, to my understanding. So, you know, that's not chill, bro. But I do kind of don't intend for my OC Loki to really have any of those children. I think that I don't like the whole not super cool father energy, and I'm kind of gonna leave that out of particularly my OC's plot line and his kind of participation in existence. You know, I do kind of leave out a lot of the more relationship based participation. What? Where am I do leave out a lot of the relationship based parts of mythology for Thanatos and Hypnos, and my brother really should stop texting me while I'm recording voiceovers. But ultimately, I kind of don't really like a lot of the familial components to these mythologies. They make me sad. Mythology really is just bad parent simulator, and I'm not a fan of it. And so with that, I do kind of leave the parental components out of my characters, whether they were parents or they had particularly bad parents. I do try to avoid those components of the relationship a little bit more. Effectively, there's just so much bad parenting in mythology that I'm just not interested in further engaging with it beyond kind of getting an understanding of how it impacts the character within their actual existence, and then how I might want to translate that impact differently into my universe and the world that I kind of put them in. Because I don't want to stray so far from mythology that the character becomes wholly unrecognizable from what they might have been, right? I think kind of the joy that I get personally out of designing characters based on mythology is thinking how might they have changed in appearance or kind of progressed or moved along with the times as things became more modern, clothes changed. And Loki is totally one of those characters who is just still a Victorian hoe. But I love myself like a good gender fluid Victorian theme, and so I'm not mad at all. And that's a big part of the reason why of Norse mythology, he's the character, or they're the character that I was particularly interested in designing for. Like, I don't know, no one else in Norse mythology ever really caught my eye the way that they did. And he has, or they have, or she has the most interesting of all of these plot points, right? And I find it very fun. And I like a good shape. My speech impediment is going to fight me. Shape shifting elements are pretty cool. And I don't have that in my two Greek choices. And so, I don't know. It just feels fun. It feels right. You know, I don't know. They definitely like spoke out to me when I was working on the project, the Gods in Modern Mundane Environments project, like 3 years ago now. 3 years ago. Wow, I think maybe 3. I think it was 2021. And so I don't know. I guess that's all I can really say about past me and how I got to this concept and my enjoyment for Loki in particular as opposed to other gods. And I suppose also inherently being kind of the villain of Norse mythology, starting Ragnarok and all of that, there is a enjoyment and an interest in perhaps tracking that downfall and the kind of moments that led up to it and finding ways to perhaps create a character development that doesn't result in planetary destruction is fun, right? But ultimately, I think I just don't like the whole bad parent thing. And so his kids are not involved. So sorry, Hel, Fenrir, and I don't know what the snake is named. I'm sorry, Snake. I'm sorry, Big Snake. I don't remember your name. And so with that, not a dad. Sorry, guys. However, I don't know how much of Loki and what I wanted to do with this character now that I'm, 1, older, 2, better at art, in terms of what I wanted to keep with his redesign and what I didn't. So I do think I'm going to be keeping the dark hair. I think I might have gave him green eyes. No, I think I kept the blue eyes. I think the blue eyes might have been consistent. I recall a lot of the mythology stating blue eyes. So I chose, instead of being a redhead, I know, it's kind of sad. I chose, instead of being a redhead, I like the black hair more. And I'm thinking about doing black with an under purple, like an undertone of purple, a very deep one, hard to tell, or a purple so deep it looks black. Because that was kind of the consistent information I could find about the color of hair for frost giants generally, and I kind of want to merge kind of more humanoid Aesir form versus Jotun, and kind of just find a nice middle ground. And also, I don't know how to color red hair that looks like real gingers, so I definitely want to work that out with a character where I've kind of thought it through, and I intend to keep them consistently ginger. And I mean, I can do Ginger Loki whenever I want, you know, shape-shifting characters. I can have all the fun in the world I want. So I think base character, I want him to have darker hair and generally a more masculine physique, but a more feminine kind of sense of attire. I know I don't actually think I've had much zoomed out visuals in the video so far, but she looks great in a skirt. I love the kind of appearance of masculine people in feminine clothing, and I love the way it looks, and so love the skirt. I'm not sure what colors I want to go with for the outfit yet, And that's another part of the reason why this video is just the skin. The other part is I think there's been a bit of a trifecta of my life. I've been having a really bad flare-up with my chronic illness for 3 or 4 weeks now. And I'm just not feeling great. And then I think my mental health is taking a hit. And then the the like right before finals week semester kind of feeling is starting to hit a little bit more. I'm in week 13 of 16. 16 is finals week, and I'm just like, I'm still doing this. So I'm just not in the best headspace. And so I wanted to take this illustration slow. It's very no pressure for me. I'm going to finish it eventually. And I'm hopefully going to finish it in May at the absolute latest if I don't manage to finish it while college is still going on. But I just needed something that felt non-committal but dedicated. I don't know how to articulate it, but I needed something that I felt like I didn't need to commit to right this second, but was still a big enough project that I could dedicate a lot of time to it over a longer kind of span, if that makes sense. I don't know how to better word that, but I like being able to have a big task that I chunk out, right? So with that, that's why we're just doing the skin today. I probably should have started the video with that. But also, oh yeah, I just realized I never explained why he doesn't have eyebrows yet. She doesn't have eyebrows because she is going to get her eyebrows slightly penned in and then darkened more with the hair. I'm not entirely sure if I've made a decision yet. As in, I think I've made a decision, but I might change my mind on if I want her eyebrows to be a little bit darker or lighter than the hair. I'm leaning towards like more of a brown than a black currently, and so I'm gonna really make that decision when it comes down to actually fully rendering the hair and seeing how it fits with the face, you know. Although the no eyebrow look honestly isn't that bad. Definitely not as unsettling as some of my other characters where I've accidentally forgotten to color in their eyebrows until the very end, and so, you know, it's not the worst. And then I feel like I'm far enough in that I've got enough design decisions I can talk about. As per usual, I very much love darkened fingertips. I love the way it looks. Aesthetically, I just want everybody to have deep purple, black, inky fingertips. And because of that, I am just doing it for my own personal enjoyment. Especially the hand that's over the head, where it looks a little bit more obscure. When it comes to the hand that I'm working on that's holding up the skirt, however, I do have a little bit more hesitation, and I'm going a little bit lighter for now. You know, you can always go darker, you can't always go lighter, right? So with that, I'm just kind of putting off actually darkening the fingertips until I have an idea of the surrounding colors, right? So if I make the skirt a deep forest green, which is where I'm leaning deep forest green with cute little like hand-stitched feeling patterns done in like a gel pen later if I can pull it off. Maybe a super fine paintbrush. I don't know if I can handle a fine paintbrush. I have really shaky hands and paintbrushes are really painful for me to use with how thin they are. Sometimes I could probably wrap. The tape handles are pretty uncomfortable too. Just feel like I just wish they had like really thick barreled fine tip paintbrushes so they hurt less to hold. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like it's hard, it hurts to hold small things, right? Which is irrelevant. But say in the event that I do a deep forest green, like I mentioned, I'm gonna want that deep forest green to have a little bit of a bounce light on the edges of the fingers, right? And to kind of influence the overall coloring of the fingertips a little bit more. So I'm just gonna save properly and fully darkening them as much as I want until everything else at least has a flat color around it. I'm super casual about this piece. I've not been feeling super great recently, so you know, it's gonna get done eventually, get done when it gets done. But at the end of the day, like, I can always go back with more markers and fix it. And if I totally ruin it, I can fix it digitally a bit with Procreate and maybe recover some bad issues in terms of just color correcting stuff, right? Which, you know, no shame to color correcting your own errors, right? There might be shame. I might be ashamed of that later in retrospect, but we'll see where I end up. And so ultimately, I'm almost done with the skin. No, I'm not almost done with the skin. This video is way longer than I expected. Still less than 50 minutes though, like I promised, I swear. I think that I just don't really know how to kind of pre-plan the colors of an outfit when I don't have a particular idea of a color scheme for Loki's clothes. I don't know why I'm leaning so much towards like creams and green. Green because serpents and envy and kind of jealousy and things like that, I do know, but like I don't know where the cream is coming from. Totally doesn't actually give me the type of character that would wear like a cream shirt, but I'm so tempted. And so I do have to think about that a lot more, and I'm gonna do some color mock-ups in my sketchbook and figure out a nice color composition that appeals to me overall. But I'm not 100% on that yet. And so if you have a particular shirt color you're interested, or skirt color, shirt and skirt, let me know. I'm pretty open. I do like to play with colors and play with kind of color combos. Nope, color palettes. There you go. There's my brain. And so like even if I hate the color suggestion, I might just go for it for the sake of like exploring something more. And by hate the color suggestion, I just think there are some pinks that aren't gonna work here. Pink for the stitching pattern might look really good. I don't know if I want a full pink shirt or skirt though, you know? Because I'm going for a foresty thing. But, I might go for it. If someone was like, yes, pink is the answer to all of your problems, I might just full blast, just go for it. But I think pinks and yellows just aren't quite the, like, full flat color that I'm looking for. But, if y'all are interested, I'm down. I'm pretty down, right? And so, you know. And I think that's kind of also coming a little bit more. I've always been open to exploration, of course, with my art, but I think it's coming a lot more with the fact that I'm about to be free from my undergrad. I'm so close to done, and I think I've mentioned it a few times before, but my undergrad experience with art has been really bad. I generally haven't had a lot of positive experiences in my actual art courses. I've had one good teacher, like one excellent teacher, and then a lot of like bad to mediocre to just unhelpful experiences. And the whole reason I added my art degree on to the end of my botany degree is because, well, there's two reasons. I said the whole reason, but there's two reasons. So 50% of the reason is my condition has been getting a lot worse, and I'm just not going to be able to do field work like I had originally dreamed of when I was younger. And secondly, because I really want to be a college art professor. I like the idea of it. I like the idea of giving students a better experience than I had. And maybe that sounds kind of petty. I think I've mentioned it's kind of petty, but I want to be a better teacher, and I want chronically ill students to not feel like failures when they are struggling to do a concept in a way that's accommodating of their condition. And I also want to be able to find a way to make the art space academically a little bit more accessible in terms of like the equipment that's utilized, or like find ways to accommodate seating arrangements even. When I took my my community college course for AP credit when I was younger, I was working on the floor, like on my hands and knees, because I couldn't sit at the table because it hurt so much. And the floor hurt too, by the way, let me be very clear. But I quite literally couldn't reach the table with like my size and condition. And so I'd have to stand, and I can't stand really that well. At least not enough to last a whole studio art course. And so I just want to find ways to make it easier. I love that Handshake just sent me an art teacher job in New York. Like, no, I don't want to move to New York, even if I did have the qualifications. But I guess ultimately I'm just not. I want academics to feel accessible. My college is very, very not great for disability access and disability accommodations. We were better when I applied. You know, I started going to college in 2020, back when the pandemic happened and everything was online. We were better, but we've actually gotten rid of a lot of our ADA regulations, which I'm not specifying my college. ADA, do not come at me. I am terrified of you. But we are already petitioning, and I'm really excited to see how our disabled professors fight my college for accommodations and threaten to call the ADA. And so I don't want to ruin the fun. I'm really excited to see my college yelled at by people who want accommodations, and I totally want to participate, even though I'll be a graduate. But I guess I just wish that my experience was better. And I wish that my experience felt safe, and I wish that I felt heard by my teachers. And so I've done quite a few disability pieces now on my channel, and no professor at my actual university has ever seen my disability work. None of my art teachers have seen it. I did do one of my disability works for a class I was taking at a different college, because I knew I was safe there, because they were accommodating and they were very, very lovely people. And I just know at my college that nobody actually cares, which sucks. Like, even if you don't care, can you at least care about the art, I guess? Like, a little bit? And so I'm very excited to move on and almost kind of like get my like lust for art back. It feels kind of weird, but you know, I've been doing my art degree for 2 years in terms of like actually like taking the courses and finishing the requirements. And the more I take these required courses with teachers who don't care about my accommodations and don't really care about pushing me to do my best work, the more I kind of lose my own passion and feel like, am I the problem? I have some juicy video ideas. I'm doing a museum and gallery internship right now, unpaid, unfortunately. I would have loved to get paid for the 120 hours I have to put in. But I'm doing a gallery internship, and I think that this internship alone has completely disenchanted me with galleries. And it kind of like reinforced my general like hate for art galleries. I'm sorry. I love looking at the work, but I hate the art galleries themselves. And I kind of want to talk about how I've been kind of just disenfranchised by the idea of what it means to be an artist on the academic level. And kind of, wow, I just realized Loki's lips are kind of crooked. I need to fix that really bad. But I think that depending on the college you go to, you are sold an illusion of what it means to be an artist and what being an artist really means. I have been told so many times since starting college as an artist, so 2020, what year is it? 2024? I like 2023. Since maybe the end of 2022. Doesn't matter. About 2 years ago. I can't think. I'm too small brain today for this. That the only way for me to be an artist is to go into galleries, and the only way for me to be an artist is to accept that they will not always accommodate me. And the only way for me to be supportive of other artists is to try my best to go to galleries and view their work, even if the place isn't accessible, and that it's not their obligation to be accessible to me, and I shouldn't be bothered about it. And I can walk. So I just want to make it very clear, like, if I can get into your building or I can't get into your building, you're inaccessible to a lot of people, right? Like, I can get up there eventually. Like, I can get there. I don't think I should have to tell people, really, honestly, as an artist, that, like, if you're not accessible to as many people as physically possible, I don't think you're worthy of having good artist work in your place, really, honestly. As an artist, I feel like so much of what makes me passionate about art is sharing it with other people. The fact that I am getting more recognition and more respect, and I am reaching a broader audience of people who genuinely care about my art on YouTube, then I will, in the one gallery I have to present in for my graduate gallery. And the fact that you guys care more about my art and how I want it presented is kind of my point, I guess, that you do not need to be a gallery artist to be successful. And the fact that I have been being told this for 2 years straight pisses me off, right? And I'm not a successful artist. Let me be very clear. I do not get paid for my work, and I don't plan to get paid exclusively for my art. But I followed in the footsteps of many artists that I love and respect, right? And there are so many artists. You can watch my video from last week. I talk about some artists who never went to college at all, never went to art school, and they make great work. They make great work because they're great artists, and they're successful because they're great artists and fortunately have enough of a social media presence and marketing capability to get out there. Because I do think now that being an artist is not all about creating good art. I do think that there very much is a marketing and social presentation component to it, and I would love to talk about that more. But I also would love to talk about just how this museum internship has really disenchanted me, and I've had to do 2 particularly large-scale projects, or I've taken on components of large-scale projects, and they show me 2 completely different universes of what people think about art and 2 different realms of being an artist, and I would love to talk about it. So along with my typography video that I am definitely going to make, because someone actually DM'd me and said they'd be interested. It's my first DM from somebody like watching my YouTube video and being like, yeah, I would like this. So I was like, I have to. If you're watching this, I'm making the typography video entirely because you said you'd be interested. Now, like, it's no longer a maybe, it's a yes. Someone said they want to see it, I'm doing it. I'm so sad, aren't I? No, I'm so excited. Someone wants to listen to me talk about the horrible stuff I've created in typography. It's insane, guys. I've made some ugly stuff. But on top of that, I'd love to talk about my museum internship because I have had a wild time seeing the dichotomy of the art world and galleries, and I think my distaste for them have been completely reinforced. So I would love to talk about it. And frankly, I'll probably maybe, if no one wants to see it, I'll just make it a bonus video so I can rant on the internet about it. Make a blog post for my Ko-fi. My Ko-fi's free. I should make that clear. If I do make a blog post about it, it will be completely free to view. It will just be for the sake of having a designated place to rant about it, where people will be going out of their way to listen to me suffer, and I will not be forcing it upon you in a YouTube video, like whoever is sat this long through the video. Speaking of which, I need to make my outro. Some of the final thoughts before I really get into my proper farewells for the week. I do think that I made Loki's skin a little bit pinker than I originally wanted to, maybe a touch more orange, but I'm not mad, you know. I was originally going to go for like a sickly pale, barely there frost giant feel, but it didn't happen that way, predominantly because I accidentally used quite a few of those pastel markers, as I mentioned. And so with that, he definitely ended up a little bit more vibrant and bright than originally anticipated, and which isn't a bad thing. It's really not. They're cute. They're cute. The eyes are nice, you know, I'm not mad, but they are a bit pinker than originally anticipated, and with that, I do feel like it gave me a lot more intention to do some kind of fun shadows and stuff like that to maybe make the pink feel a little bit more reasonable. Maybe I'm thinking about this now, not totally committed to this idea yet, but I could do a more sunsetty approach to the lighting overall and get some more fun, funky colors in here, and that would kind of make the more pinkish skin make sense. I was just kind of thinking, like, as a frost giant, you know, you live in the snowy mountains where you get minimal sun and is cold as balls, and there's not a lot of foliage, and yeah, so I was kind of just thinking, like, very, very glassy snow white skin. So I don't know, maybe that sunset idea actually does have some viability as being a good kind of resolution to the pastel. I've also never done a sunset kind of lighting scheme before, so that could be really, really fun. So I don't know, let me know if you're interested. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I really, really appreciate you. I know it was definitely more unhinged than it usually is, but I had a lot to say and I haven't been able to talk to you guys, like myself, in like over a week because of the whole computer issue. So if you like this video, like it. If you dislike, subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And this is Loki and his very, very lovely skin. And so I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, wherever you are, and bye-bye.